Hey, what's up?
Hey,
Thanks for
are we
hopping on.
live? Are we ready? Of course.
Welcome to episode number 35 of the Dugout Report. I am here with Michael Duarte, recapping Dodgers and Phillies opening week, and I'm excited to hear his thoughts on what he has in mind and everything else. So, welcome.
Thank you for having me as always, Alex. I am fresh back from my trip to Japan, as you can see from my Cherry Blossom Dodgers hat. And I got a present when I arrived. I ordered this before I left. It arrived while I was in Asia. But this is my Kobe Dodgers job finished World Series sweatshirt. So I'm all ready to go for you. But I'm going to take the hat off now. Um, hold on. Just wanted to wear that for the beginning of the show for you. So now we're good to go. Look at that right there. Tokyo series. That's right. We can't
Nice.
recap the Dodgers without opening day for all of baseball at the Tokyo Dome in Japan.
So, what were your um, how how was it like covering the Tokyo series?
Yeah, I'm glad we started off there. That's a great question. I will say this, I don't know for the fans that got to see some of the games. Obviously, I'm sure a lot of them got to see the two opening day games on MLB. Um, where they played the Cubs, obviously, but it was the two exhibition games, Alex, before those games that to me were the more exciting, that were the better games. And I'm talking about the two games that they played the Yamahuri Giants and the Tigers, two local teams that play at the Tokyo Dome in Japan. Those games were run by Major League Baseball. Excuse me, those games were run by the NPB, the Japanese league, and the other two games were run by Major League Baseball. And so the two exhibition games had what I would call the traditional style of what you would see if you were to go to a Japanese game as far as culturally. I'm talking about they had drums in the outfield, cheering sections. They had their own songs, chants. It was similar to like an international soccer match, I would call it. They had trumpets, they had like a full band out in the outfield. It was a really cool thing to experience when their team's pitcher is pitching. Um, they get really, really loud and behind him. And then when their team is batting, they get very quiet so that they can hear and focus. It's a very interesting development. But when it came time for the two MLB games, when the Cubs played the Dodgers for game one and game two, it was like a regular old MLB game. It was kind of, I would say, equivalent to what Super Bowls in the past have been for me. And I say that because they're very corporate, right? Sometimes it's not necessarily an entire stadium full of the team's fans. There's a lot of advertisers, sponsors, celebrities, wealthy people getting tickets. This is what the Tokyo Dome's environment was kind of like. So it was a little different than normal, but those two exhibition games were my favorite because we really got to experience what baseball's like in Japan.
How was it like covering the media part of it?
Yeah, the media part of it was great. What I got to see from the media perspective was just how much of a global transcendent superstar Shohei Ohtani is. And yes, they supported Yoshi Yamamoto and Roki Sasaki and all those guys, but really, 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 it was the Shohei Ohtani show. He's just, how do I put this? He's he's like Taylor Swift, Dwayne the Rock Johnson as far as like a global movie star, Taylor Swift as far as like a global pop star icon, and like a cultural icon all rolled into one. Teoscar Hernandez, the Dodgers outfielder, said he's like God in Japan. And I promise you, Alex, that's not even hyperbole. He really is. He's on at least 20 commercials that I see. He was on every billboard as I walked around the city. The media frenzy surrounding him, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Japanese media following his every move. They would camp out for hours just to see him come out of the stairs, out of the dugout. and then they would wait for hours as they watched him warm up and go crazy as he just ran in from the outfield after stretching and warming up to go back to the locker room. It was absolutely incredible. And so, from the media perspective, being able to cover Shohei Ohtani in his home country, where he is like that. He's a rock star, a pop star, a movie star, everything all rolled into one. It was very cool to see.
I know that you got the chance to tour around Japan. Any fun stuff that stuck out?
Yeah, for me, in a for me, separate than what I was saying about Shohei Ohtani and seeing him around town and around the country, I loved immersing myself in their culture, especially the food scene. Tokyo is one of the most underrated cities when it comes to food in the world. I tried omakase pizza. It's just a style of pizza where they kind of make every slice individual and unique for you. I tried vegan sushi, which was amazing. I tried ramen. They have this other thing. I'm going to screw the name up. Yakitori was another thing that was very good there, but they have this like almost like omelet with vegetables in it. It was very, very good. Also, just seeing the concessions food at the stadium was very unique as well. I was able to get edamame. They had fried squid, octopus. They had like anything you could possibly imagine, and pizza and hot dogs and burgers and all that. But being able to see all the different cuisines and food items, to me, that was my takeaway and my best memory. Even though I got to do all the tourist stuff too, to me, the food is what will kind of stay with me the longest more than anything.
So moving on to the next series, what were your takeaway way on game one of three against Atlanta?
The three-game series between the Dodgers and the Cubs, or are you talking, or sorry, the Tigers, or are you talking about the Braves series that opened up on Monday?
The Brave series.
So it's interesting. The Brave series obviously opened up today. Sorry, Monday, whenever someone listens to this or airs. And look, this was a series where I thought this is potentially the two best teams in the National League, at least on paper. But the Braves are coming in limping into it. I don't know what's going on with them. Winless, obviously, and they got shut out in two of the last games against the Padres. They got shut out all the way until the eighth inning, I believe, against the Dodgers tonight in the first game of the series. I kind of thought, if you looked at it on matchup, that the pitching matchup favored the Dodgers in game one. Tyler Glasnow making his debut, really pumped up. And so I honestly thought that the Dodgers would win the game on Monday. It's the game on Tuesday where I believe they go up against Chris Sale now that the five-man rotation has turned over for the Braves, that I think is going to give them trouble. Chris Sale pitched excellently against the Dodgers in Atlanta at the tail end of last season, which kind of actually was their like rock bottom. It's hard to think of a rock bottom for a team that finished with the best record in baseball and went on to win the World Series, but it was in that series in Atlanta last year when Chris Sale dominated them that they got the bad news that Tyler Glasnow was out for the remainder of the season and he was not returning, and they were kind of stumbling into the postseason, and they hadn't. The Padres were catching up on them. The Diamondbacks were making a push. They really weren't playing well, and it was that Atlanta series. It was a four-game series. They lost the first two games badly. They battled back, won the next two, and split that series. And so it was that series where their kind of end of the season turned around and they started to make that push for the playoffs. And so I bring that up only because Chris Sale dominated them, and I think Tuesday, this middle, the rubber match, possibly you could call it, is the game that the Dodgers are going to lose of this series. This middle game here with Chris Sale on the mound. But then after that, I think the Dodgers will take two of three, and you never know because the Braves are seemingly struggling right now. And look, Tarek Skubal was the AL Cy Young Award winner. The Dodgers beat him at opening day at Dodger Stadium in that first game. They were able to get to Skubal, knock him out of the game, and then get to the bullpen a little bit. So that plan of attack potentially could work for the Dodgers here in game two of this series. It wouldn't surprise me if they were to do the same thing to Chris Sale. I'm just kind of wondering what's going on with the Braves. Why are they struggling? But for all intents and purposes, Chris Sale versus Dustin May. Dustin May hasn't pitched. He's coming off Tommy John surgery. He's had two Tommy John surgeries now. To me, this is a game the Braves should win, and the Dodgers' streak of starting the season 6-0 will finally come to an end. And I think they'll be 6-1 heading into the rubber match on Shohei Ohtani's bobblehead day on Wednesday.
Uh, I know we are just a couple games in, but what are your thoughts on how the picture is making in the NL East?
Yeah, it's too early to tell. I think personally that it's going to be a three-team race the whole way, Phillies, Braves, and Mets. I do think that the Nationals are improving. I think that the Marlins might, be a little bit more improved as well, especially the word of the day in the last few days actually has been the torpedo bats going
Mhm.
on throughout baseball. I know, Alex, you've heard about it and you're probably curious about the torpedo bats. Well, the torpedo bats were invented and created by a former analytics advisor for the New York Yankees, but he was signed as kind of like the middleman between the on-field players and the analytics department with the Miami Marlins. And so I watched a press conference he did today on Monday, excuse me, with the media, and he's already got the Miami Marlins players ordered with these torpedo bats. They're trying to make them the best team they can be on the field, win on the margins. Do I think that means they're going to win the NL East? Absolutely not. But do I think having a guy who's a former MIT grad, a very smart guy, trying to find ways to, I don't know, have a leg up against teams, the guy who created the torpedo bat, do I think it's going to help the Marlins a little bit? Yeah. So I think the NL East is going to be a very tough division. I mean, it's crazy to think about right now, Alex. Just the standings alone, if you look at the NL West, I know you asked me about the NL East, but the Dodgers, Padres, and Giants are a combined 14-1 to start the season. It's absolutely crazy just how good those teams are to start. And the NL East is, the Marlins are at 3-2. The Phillies are there too. The Braves, the team that many picked to win the division, are winless right now to start the season. So it's way too early to tell, but I think it's a three-team race. But I think the Nationals and the Marlins will be a little bit improved this year. So I think it's going to be a tough division.
Mhm. I know this upcoming weekend is going to be a big series with the Phillies and Dodgers. What are your what is your preview about that series?
It's going to be a big series so early. It's the first time the Dodgers truly go on the road. They were technically the road team in those two games versus the Cubs in Tokyo Dome, but when you have Shohei Ohtani, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and Roki Sasaki on your team in the country of Japan, for all intents and purposes, you are the home team. So yeah, I don't really buy into that theory. So going into Philadelphia, where you and I know Philadelphia fans, sports fans in general, are elite, some of the best, and to do it, in their park, and you're going to bring arguably the best team in baseball, the team that the rest of the country says is ruining baseball with their 300 plus million payroll, almost near half a billion payroll, honestly. It's going to be a big series, and it's a big weekend series. I know that there's a lot of stuff going on with the Phillies. They're going to be having like nights, I think, and giveaways and promotions, and so it's going to be a popular series. I think everything game is going to be sold out. I hope every game is sold out there at the
Mhm.
bank. And so I think the Dodgers for the first time will be going into hostile territory. I don't know yet what the pitching matchups are going to be. I can predict, but I do know that it's more than likely that the Phillies are going to see Yamamoto, that the Phillies are going to see Roki Sasaki, and that the Phillies may see Tyler Glasnow probably, who pitched
Mhm.
well. And so, Yamamoto and Glasnow are going to be tough for the Philly to face. Right now, obviously, those matchups are TBD. I want to see who the Dodgers end up facing for the Phillies. I know Wheeler pitched here recently, and so I don't think they're going to end up seeing Wheeler. But it'll be really interesting, those pitching matchups. But moreover, what I want to see from that 3-game weekend series is how Roki Sasaki bounces back. Obviously, the video of him crying after getting taken out of the game has gone viral. He was very emotional. He only lasted in 1 1/3 innings in his Dodger Stadium debut. He struggled through 3 innings in Japan, in Tokyo. He had 5 walks. He was erratic. Now, in that game, he was able to dig deep and put guys away when he needed to. When he, got behind in the count, he was able to come back, battle to a full count, and strike guys out. He was not able to do that against the Tigers. I think the Tigers are a team that, they won a playoff series last year. They went to the division series. They're much more improved this year, in my opinion. They bring back Jack Flaherty, I should say, after he won a World Series with the Dodgers. So they might be a little bit better than the Cubs, maybe. But to me, I just think that Roki Sasaki is a fastball splitter pitcher. That splitter is very nasty, but when he can't command it, suddenly he's just one note. He's just a fastball guy. And the Tigers were sitting on the fastball, and he got in big trouble early, and he wasn't able to get out of it. And he's very young. He's only 23 years old. He's a rookie. He's going to have ebbs and flows and ups and downs throughout his career and throughout his rookie season here with the Dodgers. How does he bounce back after failure? And it's hard to call it failure, right? Because he didn't give up that many runs, and the Dodgers ended up winning that game anyway. With a Mookie Betts walk-off, they win it 8-5. So is it really failure, or? But for him, it's a failure because he's proclaimed that he wants to be the best pitcher on the planet. He came to the Dodgers to win. He came to them to be a really good pitcher that they can rely on and count on, similar to Yamamoto in the playoffs last year. And so, how does he bounce back from this rough start? 2 bad starts, if you ask me, to the season. And now he's going to go into hostile environment in Philadelphia. And Alex, if you and I know something about Philadelphia sports fans, if they smell a weakness or any vulnerability, they will
Hmm.
attack it. I mean, these guys threw snowballs at Santa Claus. They cheered Michael Irving when he got hurt in their own stadium. They've booed their own players after they've said things, to the media about how they feel about the city. So for Roki Sasaki to go into that next pitching matchup in a hostile territory against a very, very good offensive lineup with the Phillies, with Bryce Harper, and he's coming off a game where he was caught on camera crying. I think the Phillies fans are going to be on him. They're going to let him know what they think. They're going to be calling him overrated and a bum and you're not ready and send him down. So I expect all that, and how he's going to bounce back and perform is going to be really, really interesting to me.
Uh, Thank you so much for taking the time out of your night to come on, and I'll definitely have you back on soon.
Yeah, me too. And I'm going to be watching those 3 series, probably sending you DMs back and forth as we talk smack to see who ends up winning that series between the Phillies and Dodgers in Philadelphia. But hey, hopefully the Dodgers enter that series, 11-0? That'd be pretty exciting. Or 8-0, I think they would be at that point. So 8-0. Hopefully they'll end up there 8-0.
Hmm. Yeah, we'll definitely see what happens.
Absolutely.